Hi there, it's Lori from Lollipop Paper and Ink. Thanks for joining me today and welcome to my stamp studio. The video I'm doing today is kind of a replay of the video that I had posted last week, and it was the replay of my Facebook Live where I demonstrated how to do this watercolor technique with blends, markers, and also a little bit of rubbing alcohol. So it's fine on my Facebook page, but I ended up there was some kind of glitch when I tried to upload it to YouTube, and it was fine for the first 10 minutes, and then after that, at some point, I lost all the audio. So I just wanted to share it again, just to make sure that you could appreciate how fun and easy and quick this cute little video, this cute little background is to do. So this was the card that I had done last week. I'm going to redo it again, just use a little bit of different coloring, and just to show you how I did it. So it's very simple. These are the only things you need are a little bit of the isopropyl alcohol, and the only thing you need to remember is that get the one that is at least 90% alcohol, because I tried it originally with a 70% bottle, not knowing that there was going to be that much of a difference, and it was not strong enough to break down the ink and to move it. So and this worked perfect. So 90 plus, and you should be fine with that. So I'm going to add just a little bit of the alcohol to my cup here in the center, and that's what we're going to use to move the ink and break it down. And then I'm going to add just a little bit of water just to my bowl here, and that's just to clean off my brush so that if I'm changing colors, I'm not transferring the color from one to another. So that's all you need is the alcohol, a little bit of water, a paper towel to wipe to clean off your brush, some blends, Stampin' blends, whatever your choice is. This time I'm using Just Jade and the Calypso Coral. I use both of the dark ones out of the combo pack. And then also, if you want to move the ink a little bit, and I'll show you how I did that, you just need a little bit of a straw or any kind of air blowing device that you could just move it with. You could use your heat tool, but I felt like I hadn't tried that, but I do think it would blow it too much and you really would lose a little bit of control. So it works best on vellum. So it blends and it can move the ink more on vellum. So that's what we're going to do here. And I just have a piece of vellum. I did a little bit of cutting beforehand. We're going to use the same bundle that I used last week, and that is the Quiet Meadow bundle. Beautiful stamp set and beautiful dies that aren't stamped images, so there's so much to choose from just to add a die cut to as your focal image. So that's what we're going to be using today. Okay, so just to start, the only thing we need is this little sticky. Let me get rid of that. So I have a piece of 5 1/4 by 4-inch vellum, and that's all I need to start with. And what I'm going to do is take my blends, and I'm just going to make blobs, I call them, on the page. And this is a little bit of a pattern, but you don't have to do a pattern. You could do you can make it as random as you want. Okay, and then I go back and do my coordinating color, which is the Calypso Coral. And I'm just filling in the spaces. I do like some white space in the background, so I'm not going to fuss over every little area. All right, and that is it for that. So now I'm just going to take my paintbrush, dip it into the alcohol, and I'm going to just blot the edges. And what I'm doing is moving the ink. You just don't want it to have, you don't want to have a structured edge to it. And I'm just going to do that just for my greens first, my Just Jades. And that's all it's doing, is breaking down the ink and making it very wet. And that's the good thing about using the alcohol, though. It is, it will dry much faster than the regular water. So if you don't feel like it's breaking it down enough, just move it. And I'll show you how I use the straw. And if you just hang with me, at the end, I do have a few other projects that I did that came out really pretty with this. So this is a little too conformed, so I'm just going to break that up a little bit. And that's all I'm doing, is just going around the edges. And if you see, if you wanted to mix in with the other color, then that's fine too. You just move this over so you don't get the glare. And that's it. You can see how simple this is. Now I'll just take this one here. Well, I want to break that down a little bit, but I'm going to take this and add the alcohol. Now if I wanted to make it more, which I'll show you on a different card that I did use, I wanted the ink to move more to the center, so I just took my straw and blew a little bit. And then you can turn it, and the other card, I was able to get it to look more like a flower by just pushing the veins into the middle. And that's all you have to do for that. And you'll see that better close up when I show you my other projects. Okay, so that is it. Oops. So that's it for the mint, for the Just Jade. So I'm just going to give it a little rinse with my water, and now I can go back into the alcohol. Now you can see it is a little bit tinged with the green, but it's not going to matter because these are all going to blend together anyway. Okay, and that's it. Clean up your brush a little bit, give it a dry. Now this is just going to take just a few minutes to dry, so while that's drying we can do some of our stamping and also putting the card base together. So let's leave this here just to dry for a second and get that out of the way. Okay, so what I have here is the Just Jade is my card base. So that is 11 by 4 1/4, and it's scored here halfway at 5 1/2. And what I'm going to do is I have 2 basic white layers, and because we're going to be adhering the watercolored layer to this one. So this is exactly the same size as that, 5 1/4 by 4, okay? But I liked it backed up. Whenever I'm using a solid piece of card base, of colored card base, I like to have just a tiny little border around that, so that sticks out a little bit. Okay, let's put that on first. That just goes right on here. And that's a very tight border there, but I just want a little bit to peek through. Okay, and for our sentiment, we're going to, I'm just going to use the Just Jade, and I'm going to use this Thinking of You sentiment from the Quiet Meadow bundle. And this label die is included right there with those other dies, which I love. No looking all around for something else. Okay, so I'm just stamping this Just Jade right into the middle, and I made a little smudge. It's okay. All right, so that is done with that. Now what I did was I took out, I wasn't sure which one I was going to want to use for the for my die cut, my focal image layer. So I cut out just these different flowers. For my first one, I liked that the blue was so dark against the, this was the Night of Navy and so saffron, because it looked more like a shadow. So I don't have that this time, so I'm just gonna wait and see. But this is the die that I used for that, this one here, okay? And I just cut out a few. I'm sure I'll use them on other projects. And all right, let's see how this is almost done. Pretty good. So now the thing with adhering this is it's not a big deal to adhere it with your seal. I tried the Stampin' Seal Plus, and I wasn't happy with how that came out. It was those little lines that are on the Stampin' Seal Plus that are there for extra strength showed up. And when I had another card, this is the card that I had done originally. It's also on my blog post. This was not part of the Facebook Live last week. But you can see here, this is what I meant when I said I used the straw to blow the ink a little bit into the center to make it look more like the center of the flower bloom. So with this card, it was a little more difficult to adhere it because of the white on white. It's not such a big deal when you're using the different colors. But for this one, I just used a sponge with liquid glue and pounced it on the back of the vellum to get it to adhere, but not to show through. So that's always my go-to. But for me, the liquid glue is a little messy, so I much prefer to do this. And the good thing about this vellum, this is the side that I used, and it's just all dry by now. But if you really wanted a more muted look, you could always just use the back like that. And then if you wanted to use, like I like a white background, but you could use a, even if we do it this way, the colored background, and that looks beautiful too. Actually, that looks really nice. But I'll stick with my original plan of just having it onto the white layer here. And I'm going to put another layer in here because, like I said, this one is exactly the same size, and I want to be able to wrap a little ribbon around that. So I'm going to put the adhesive right along the perimeter of this, and it should work fine. And just try to keep it nice and straight towards the edge as best you can, and it should not be visible at all. Okay. Now you really just only get one shot with this, so you just be careful and layer it down. I'm just trying to match up my corners, and if it was a little lopsided, I could always just trim it, but that seemed to work fine. Okay, so there I have that ready to be adhered to the card base. So let me just put a little bit of ribbon here, just something to anchor the sentiment. And I'll see, I'll make sure that it's even on both sides. Sometimes I would just use Scotch tape with ribbon, but this is a nice flat ribbon, so I don't really have to worry about it. If it was any of the thicker ones, I would just add a little Scotch tape to both ends. Okay, so now this is just going to go right onto the card base, and you can see this is what I want to just have that little extra white border showing. That looks very pretty. I'm liking this, this color change that I had. Okay, so you know what? I think maybe I'll try to cover up my little smudge. Normally I would have put this on with dimensionals, but yep, let's go ahead and do that anyway. All right, I'm not gonna worry about it. Okay, this is all set. And normally I would also put a piece of basic white on the inside to write my personal sentiment on there. Because I don't like writing on the actual colored cardstock. And I can always add, which I think I will after, I'll add just a little bit of some kind of DSP or something down on the bottom there. And so I have these are attached right to the ribbon. So it kind of gives it a little bit more movement also. So now my big decision is, do I put 1, 2, or 3 of these on here? And I think I like just the white and the just jade. Yep, I think that's what I'm going to go with. Okay, so for this one, I'm just going to add a little bit of adhesive to this one, and then on the bottom, on the second one that I put on, I'll add a few dimensionals. Okay, so that's going to stick like that. Now these are really tiny, so I'm thinking they need the mini dimensionals so that I can get one right into the center there. And if it was still too big, which this one might be too big, I'll just give it a little snip. And I always do keep a pair of not so great scissors just for that purpose alone, because I wouldn't want to use my good ribbon scissors for cutting a dimensional, because then it would still get some adhesive on it, and I don't want that. Okay, and I'm not going to worry about this. Maybe I'll just put a little bit of adhesive there. And let's pick these up. Oh, I do see it peeking through a little bit. So I'm just going to take your pick tool, and I'm just going to roll it just a little bit. Okay, there you go. Oh, shoot. I didn't want to do that one. I wanted to do the white one. All right, let's try that again. All right, trying a little do-over there. Okay, that's what I wanted. And just going to put it just a little bit off to the side, and so that it looks a little bit more like a shadow. Okay, there we go. So once I fix this little boo-boo here, I will be totally happy with it. But you got the idea of how I made that beautiful background image in just minutes flat. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you were a little bit inspired by it. It's so easy to do, and you have, I'm sure, the ingredients that you would need to do something like this. So these are my other cards. This was the card that we did last week. I used a different die cut, a different die from that bundle, and just different colors to give it a different, just a different effect. And actually, I think maybe I can. I think I just got some of these new in color square gems from the new catalog, but which I was very nice to know that they have them for the 20 to 2022 in colors, which normally I didn't think they had that. Okay, so that looks cute we'll just add a little center flower to each of these. There you go. Okay, now I'm done. All right, well, thanks so much for staying with me today and revisiting this watercolor technique, just done with alcohol and Stampin' blends. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you don't miss my next videos. I appreciate your time today. I hope you have a great day. Stay safe, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.